we are looking at Chapter 9, Lesson 3, the Mauryan Empire. And on the front, you just answer the what do you know. Like what is an empire? We know that it's a large kingdom ruled by one leader. A Sanskrit is an ancient written language. We learned that in Lesson 1. Lesson 2, we learned about Hinduism and Buddhism. A religion practice in India. And Buddhism is a religion that started in India and spread to other nations. Okay. So check this as you go. If you need to pause it at any time, you can. Make sure you have the correct answers. India had many small kingdoms. By the 500s BC, around 325 BC, an Indian military leader named Chandragupta Maurya built a strong army. He took over almost all northern India. In 321 BC, the Mauryan dynasty began. A dynasty is a group of rulers from the same family. Chandragupta set up a well-organized government in the capital city of, and let me look to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, Pataliputra, to keep control. Chandragupta also set up a strong army and a spy system to make sure his subjects were loyal. Many historians think that the greatest king of the Mauryan Empire was Chandragupta's grandson Ashoka. Ashoka ruled from about 273 BC to 232 BC. He was a strong military leader who grew to hate war. After one bloody fight, he decided to follow the teachings of Buddha and spend his life making peace. So here it compares both of their rulings and what they did. So you can read through that. Ashoka sent teachers to spread Buddhism throughout India and Asia. He had workers carve Buddha teachings on pillars or large tall stones. He also had workers build thousands of stupas or Buddhist shrines. Unlike most rulers of the time, Ashoka was tolerant of other religions such as Hinduism. When there is a good road system and a strong ruler, trade is good. Trade was very good under Ashoka. India became the center of a huge trade network. It stretched all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. So let's look at question number 1. It says, fill in the blanks, write 3 things that Ashoka did for the people after he became a Buddhist. So, and this is by looking at this table. He built hospitals for people and animals. He built new roads with rest houses. He sent teachers to spread Buddhism throughout India and Asia to teach, or he built those stupas is what it called the vocabulary term. But you didn't have to put these 3. You could have put any of these that you wanted to under Ashoka. Which leader did more to help the people, his people, Chandragupta or Ashoka? Ashoka was the grandson. Well, it's believed that Ashoka, he was tolerant of other religions, and he built new roads and hospitals. So he did more for the empire, it's believed. What did both Chandragupta and Ashoka do to increase communication in the empire? So if you read what they did, you would note that Chandragupta created a postal system that helped with communication throughout the empire, and he built new roads. So building new roads is something that both of them contributed to the empire. Okay, like I said, if you need to pause this at any time, you may. So let's look at this. Ashoka died in 232 BC. The kings who followed him were not good leaders. They forced merchants to pay heavy taxes. They took the peasants' crops without paying them. The empire grew weak, and the people turned against these rulers. In 183 BC, the last Mauryan king was killed by one of his own generals. After the Mauryan Empire split into small warring kingdoms. Okay, so what caused Ashoka to denounce violence, and what was the result? Well, he had Ashoka's conversion to Buddhism helped him denounce violence. The result was that he spent the rest of his life making peace. Now let's look at the Gupta Empire. For the next 500 years, the small kingdoms fought each other. Then a prince from the Ganges River Valley rose to power. His name was Chandragupta. This is not the same one. Founded the Gupta dynasty in 8320. He ruled from the old capital of Pataliputra for 10 years. Then his son, let me look and make sure I'm saying this correctly. So give me just a second. Samudra, okay. Samudragupta took over. Samudragupta gained new lands for the empire. He became a patron or gave money to people for people to make art and literature. India began a golden age. Underline that, put a star by it. Merchants used a network of trade routes to buy and sell. They gained wealth for themselves and the empire. Cities grew along the trade routes and made travel easier. So they developed these cities on the trade routes, and that would bring people to the cities, and they could sell more goods. The merchants could. The Gupatas practiced the support of Hinduism. So the Mauryan Empire, the Ashoka, he practiced Buddhism, but he tolerated other religions. The Gupta Empire practiced Hinduism. They built the fine temples, and they created beautiful works of art to honor the Hindu gods. Pilgrims, people who traveled to the holy place, used the trade routes to get to these popular places. These travelers made the cities rich. So how did the Gupta Empire profit from the trade routes? Well, they built their cities along these trade routes, and the merchants could make money. Merchants were able to sell more goods, and the empire became richer, is your answer. All right, culture in ancient India. Artists, builders, scientists, and writers were busy under the Mauryan and Gupta empires. After Sanskrit developed under the Aryans, the Hindu Vedas were written down. Another kind of popular text was the epic. And we've talked about an epic before. It's like a long poem. These were long poems that taught important lessons about the right and wrong. The most famous epic poem are and like I said, I'm going to have to look up how to pronounce this correctly. I think it's Mahabharata. I think is how you say that. And the Ramayana. And you can read about it here. It was very long. It was 90,000 verses, so a very long epic poem. The best known section of, let's have a look at the pronunciation, of Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. This name means Song of the Lord. So, let's look at the question. What language were Indian epic poems written in? Sanskrit. That was developed by the Aryans. All right, last page. So, the hero in the poem learns that he should do his duty and follow his dharma, no matter how difficult it is. Music was important in the religious and social lives of the ancient Indians. Religious poems such as, I'm going to look at it again, Bhagavad Gita, I don't know if I said that correctly, honestly, were probably sung in group settings. Early art has survived. Early art that has survived is mostly religious art carved in stone. Many sculptures are in the Buddha, some carved as early as the 8100s. The most important buildings in India were those that were used for religious worship. Mathematicians invented a way to show nothing by using the number 0. The Indian number symbol for 0 through 9 are the same ones that we use today. Arab traders adopted these Arabic numerals. The Europeans later borrowed them, and by AD 1200s, these numerals had replaced Roman numerals. Indian scientists mapped the movement of the planets and stars. They knew that Earth was round and that it moved around the sun. Metal workers used steel and iron to make tools and weapons. Gupta doctors set broken bones and performed operations. They invented medical tools such as scalpels and used herbs to treat illness. A doctor even performed an early type of plastic surgery. So question number 7 says, use the graphic organizer to list the advancements of mathematics, science, and medicine. So mathematics, they came up with the concept of 0 and Arabic numerals. In science, the idea of that the earth was round, earth circles the sun, and steel and iron tools and weapons they created. In medicine, they set broken bones, did medical operations, used medical tools, used herbs to treat illness, and performed plastic surgery. Question number 8. What lasting achievement did the Indian mathematicians make? The number system we use today, which includes 0. All right, lastly, let's look at this check for understanding. Chandragupta Mayara, it was the first empire that we talked about in this lesson, established the Mauryan dynasty. Ashoka was his grandson, and he built stupas to spread Buddhist teachings. And Samudragupta created the golden age in India, art and literature. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. Check your work. Pause it if you need to. Make sure you complete lesson 2 and 3 quiz when it is posted in Google Classroom. When you watch this, it may not be posted yet. Just give me patience and you will see it in the near future. I would like for some of you to Zoom or Google Meet in 4th period or 6th period this Friday, so that you can review for the test, or I can also try to post a review in Google Classroom, but your test will be on Monday, this coming up Monday, over lessons 1, 2, and 3. So if you know the questions, you know the material in here, and you know your vocabulary, you should be good for the quiz.